Renar's podcast.
Your coaching.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that, my man. So how that happened, how long it's been, and as like we discussed things before, like you mentioned about the things, the values you want to fight for, and this is a great. I'm guessing that's what you do with your coaching as well.
Yeah. So the essence of yoga is connection. Like the word yoga is rooted in the Sanskrit word called yuj, Y-U-J. And that means to yoke. It's literally the yoking of like the field ox to plow. So it yokes the plow to the ox so that when the ox goes forward, it plows the field. Like that is what.
It's not the egg yolk.
Not the egg yolk. Spelled the same though.
Is it?
No, maybe it's Y-O-K.
You're talking to someone who's English
not
third language. So
not the egg yolk. The yoking.
Yeah.
The connecting, the bringing into union.
Right.
And there are a lot of different ways we can look at connection.
Oh, shit, I didn't know that.
One of the areas that it talks about for connection is how we connect deeper to Atman, our true self, to connect deeper to Brahman, this infinite everything else around us.
And Brahman, that is infinite.
Brahman is the yoga philosophical term for the universe.
Oh, okay.
So Atman is our true self. So Brahman is everything else, including us.
Yeah.
And so the one way I love to describe it is we are Atman, which is the wave in the infinite sea that is Brahman, the universe.
Wow. Just
So
blowed me away.
So we want to. So the essence of yoga is to connect more to Atman. And I realized when I got deeper into yoga and I blew everything up, blew my marriage up, blew my career up, and now I'm hanging out in Bali trying to figure out what the fuck am I doing in my life. I look back and I realized like, I lack the ability to take ownership in my life. It was my ex-wife. It was my parents. It was my teachers. It was my boss. It was my account. It was all these things outside of me. And I realized like, I was going through some of my deeper, depressed, anxious, fucking panic, anxiety-filled times because I was disconnected from myself. So let's take ownership. I can want a better boss. I can want my parents to act this way. I can want my brother to act this way. I can want my wife to act this way. Or I can look at it and be like, how do I connect deeper to myself and figure out what the fuck do I want to do? How do I take ownership of my life? I literally wake up in the morning. I'm going to swing my feet on the side of my bed and I'm going to thrust. I'm going to thrust into the day. I'm going to step into the day. What am I going to do today to connect to me on a deeper way? And then that fosters the connection to everything else. So I looked at that and I realized how potent that was. And I love teaching yoga, which is the physical asana with a little bit of sprinkling of the truth bombs on top, salt-based style. But I was like, I want to go deeper. And there's so many people that'll always be like, yoga's not for me. I'm not flexible. I'm just like, well, then let's move into a coaching container. And the coaching for me, I do one-to-one. I'm launching in the process of launching my first group program, which is actually called Own It. How can you be the leader of your own life? But I looked at it. I'm like, let's take this journey, which was my journey of yoga, to connect to true self the best I can, to then use that as the foundational pillar to then begin to connect to deeper to the other things. So whether it's I want help with my business, I want to improve my relationship. It's like, okay, we got to come back to self, internal, and then we go back external.
Yeah, the own it concept is, I really like that part. And also from what you're saying, like for me, one of the difficulties is to also identify what I want in a relationship. I'm very quick to say what I don't want in a relationship, and you probably heard this before. Maybe you had a battle with this before as well, because like, in the relationship right now I'm in for last 3, almost 4 months. And this is also like we already been before together and then we broke up and now we're back. There's so much we're like working on things. And part of me says, well, isn't that like weird that we need to work on relationships? If two people are meant for each other, shouldn't it be all easy, right? So I would say that to my girlfriend and she says like, maybe, like I don't have an answer, but the thing is like we're not perfect. None of us are. And there are certain things that we need to work on. And then the first thing is to own our shit. I have to own that I have, issues with intimacy or showing intimacy, showing affection, showing, that kind of thing. And I would say like, no, I don't. No, I don't have it. Like I totally go in denial, like, fuck, I don't. And then I like, hour later or 2 hours later after the argument, I just go, fuck, I do. In a big time. And so, yeah, that is really beautiful concept, and more people should learn about it. So when did you start this, the journey of coaching, and how did you decide that, like, because like, you know how it is in Bali, especially like coaching, like, oh, the coaches everywhere, this and all this stigma, right, going to with, and actually I had a podcast just recently, I released podcast with my friend Laura. So she's coach, but she's the coach for people who are struggle with their career, mindset coach. So she's about mindset coach and specifically for careers, right? And even if like they have issues with business and all that stuff, and we discussed these concepts. So yeah, so for you to getting into it, and like what are the things were you concerned about? And
so to be honest, being in Bali was the biggest detractor from coaching. Because all these motherfuckers out here coaching this, that, or whatever, I was like, you couldn't coach your way out of a fucking paper bag. And
that's a combo you get.
Yeah. So it definitely made me judge coaching. And I didn't even want to, I was what can I call myself that's not a coach? Because I don't want to be associated with all these fucking snake oil salesmen.
Someone who's 22 years old, this does the life coaching for you.
I was like, go live life and then figure out how to coach life.
That's the biggest one.
Or the funniest thing is when people, I'm like, I'm a blank coach. And now that I've been a coach for a year, I'm going to coach others on coaching.
Yeah.
Like I did it for a year, and now I'm going to help you become a coach because I wasn't that good at being a coach.
One of my very first guests on the podcast, like 3 or 4 years ago, was that guy.
Yeah.
I met him somewhere, and like honestly, like lovely guy, but like half a podcast, I was like, I don't even know what the fuck we're talking about.
So that my biggest delay was the judgment. Like, but that's also my ego, because it's like, there's shitty people at fucking everything. But it is the challenge is that Bali has a high density. Where 99% of this world doesn't even know what a coach is.
Right.
I decided to pick a place where 99% of the people around me are coaches.
Or digital nomads.
Yeah, exactly.
Or OnlyFans.
Oh my God.
Don't even start me to go that way.
Oh my God, that is... Oh, anyway, coming back to it. So I would say that I said I was going to be a coach and may or may not have included human connection coach on my Instagram like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And there is an aspect of the way that I teach yoga that is, I look at it as a supporting people in connection, empowering them. So I do say that there is a coaching element to how I teach and run my trainings.
Right.
And I've been running those. I actually have some students that are being like, it feels like we're doing life coaching, not yoga. And I'm like, same. I mean, the Yoga Sutras and the Bhagavad Gita are like a 4,000-year-old OG self-development book.
Right,
like if you
right.
read, I literally have the Yoga Sutras in my bag right here. You read it, it's the foundation of psychology and coaching.
Right,
Who am I? Why is my fucking mind full of bullshit? How do I clean my mind out, focus on who I am, and fucking move through life?
You see, I want to throw in quickly. I did Kung Fu for 2 years in London. And our Shifu, every time after the session, we would sit in a circle and he would throw some wisdom at us about diets, about foods, about all sorts of things. And it was like, and he was also doing Chinese medicine, like a really well-known, like there was queues like trying to get him. But the idea that if you do a physical training and stuff, I think it's so hand-to-hand with like telling about the life concepts and like what is important, what's not important, even like when we in Bali MMA, we go CNC, strength and conditioning, doing like our coach at the end says like, yeah, eat some protein, you fucks. Like you do your exercise, but if you don't sleep and don't eat protein, but I believe, and also what I want to add that if you really believe that this is what you want to do, none of these other things matter. Like how many people you think, and for you as well, probably like, oh, podcast, another podcast, like what the fucking, there's so many podcasts, but it's like, I don't give a fuck. I love the concept of the two people come over, talk about subjects when interesting. I always learn new shit. Fuck you all. Like, I'm just going to do my thing.
Because you trust.
Exactly.
Trust.
And it's like, and no matter what, I'm gonna figure out my equipment. I can do what I want to do. So, and then eventually people, oh, he means it. You know, because the problem is like, just like with the life coaches, like there's so many who jump on that fucking train and they're like, oh, I'm gonna be cool too, you know, or like Bitcoin or whatever the fuck is what is trending. But if you're honest and you're sincere with what the fuck you want to do, and you come from that, all due respect.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
So yeah.
So where were we before that?
So and then how long it's been now?
So I would say like really stepping into coaching has been, what are we in? It's probably been about a year and a half of like it being a focus of mine, but you really realize that like I am my own worst enemy because as confident as you appear to, as others might see you, we're a human. And as human beings, we have our stories. And one of my biggest challenges still from the corporate world, and I actually just wrote about this the other day. Actually, I posted on LinkedIn for the first time ever. Actually went on to LinkedIn for the first time since I quit my job 7 years ago. If I would have
a dinosaur sound, I would put dinosaur sound for LinkedIn.
But it was, I put my heart and soul into my corporate career. I like a fucking slave to that shit. Waking up at 5 a.m. with anxiety and stress, and then just pushing myself through every single day to try to be enough to make it, to be successful, whatever it was. And it's been 7 years since I quit my corporate job. But one of my biggest impacts on my coaching business is the last time I put my heart and soul into something, it chewed me up and spit me out. And there's a fear to put my heart and soul into something again. So I am my own worst enemy in that journey. So, but I'm also very selective of who my clients are and how many I go on. So I would say the business is small, but part of it because it allows me to show up more fully for the clients that I do have. And partially because, hey, I'm also I'm a key saboteur to why it isn't huge.
Yeah, but then you see the big difference between when you say corporate, you put your heart and soul into it with all the anxiety stuff, right? And then if it doesn't work out there, you know, like, well, it didn't work out. But if you put heart and soul in things what you believe into, like you learn from that. You grow as a person. You know more how to do things what you really want to do. Just like for me, you know that I've been doing stand-up for how many years in Bali. So like the first couple sets were shit or whatever. And afterwards you learn, but that idea that you can make people laugh. And it's like this amazing, you know, adrenaline and all this satisfaction. So it's worth it to fight for that shit.
So here's my biggest challenge. My mom says this to me, and this is actually not a gloat. This is like, so let me get through it before you make the cheesy comment that you're about to make after my first sentence. My mom says, your biggest problem in life, Chris, is that you're successful. So whatever you're going to do has worked and will work. You have to choose what you want to go all in with. And so for me, like I'll use stand-up comedy as an example. I've never had a bad set. I may not have also had, like I've never put enough energy in it to have like the drop in the mic set. Yeah. But I've always had a good set because it always was like, I play it out in my head and I'm like, yeah, this is fucking awesome. Like it could have been better, but it's always going to be good. And so for me, that what the big challenge is there's the story of you went all in and it chewed you up and you spit you out. But at least you had the feeling of like, even though I took it all personally, like every loss that I ever had in the corporate world, I took it personally. Like I wasn't enough. But I always had in the back of my head the knowing that it's the company, it's the product. There's something, it's not me.
You can blame someone else, basically.
Yeah, a little bit. But there is also, because you're not your product. You're just the one selling the product. But then now there is this feeling of like, I don't have any armor on. There's no mask. So it's just Chris Walker and his fucking raw self that is sharing his heart in his coaching, in his teaching.
Shit.
And then if someone's like, fuck that guy, you're like, I didn't have the armor on. Like that fucking hurts.
My boss.
So that there we have the challenge. But then coming back to what we even talked about earlier, it's like I am taking ownership of what my craft is and recognizing I'm not everybody's cup of tea.
And you shouldn't be everybody's cup of tea.
And I'm okay with that. I do think I'm a pretty quality cup of tea, but I'm not everybody's cup of tea.
It's different taste out there.
Some people might also be like, I don't fucking like tea.
Yeah.
So then they'll never like me if I'm tea.
Exactly. Like, this is the same with the relationship. You can't be everyone's type, you know, and everyone can't be your type. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, the most important is that you have happiness of what you do, you have the satisfaction, and you can improve other people's lives and quality of their lives. Fuck yeah. Just need to go with. But let's go a little bit more in detail. Like, so how exactly the coaching works, and how do you even get into it, and how do you find your clients, and how does that work?
A lot of my clients, it's funny, a lot of my clients come from yoga. Someone's like journeying through Bali. They come to a class, something fucking pops up, and whatever the hell goes through my head and out of my mouth. People ask me like, what'd you say about blank? I was like, I have no idea what just happened in class. Because I make all my classes are intuitive. There's nothing really planned except you start sitting down and you end sitting down. Everything else is just shaking the dice, seeing what comes out in a very intentional, methodical way. There's a philosophy that I have. But a lot of my clients, something pops up in there through Instagram, through my podcast, and there's some sort of something resonates with it. So that's really where my clients are. Then the funny thing is like all my one-to-one clients have all been women. Or I used to do men's work. I used to do men's circles, and I want to work with men. And the men, so many students have like, I want you to work with my brother. I want you to work with my son. I want you to work with my husband. So many connections. But men, not really. There are men that are open to being helped, but you cannot tell a man this guy's going to help you. Yeah. That's the first way. They don't even reply to the group. They'll literally start a group message with, hey, it's blah, blah, blah. Wanted to introduce you to Chris. Oh, he's just a really good, normal guy. And I think he could really blank, blank, blank. Hey man, dude, super good to meet you. It's hard to like get super dropped in, like just the way that I would normally talk. But I'm like, hey, man, I'd love to just have like, hey, let's get 15 minutes to just chat and see if we enjoy chatting and see where it goes. Crickets. But I do feel that like we're gonna work. The men are coming. We'll see how that goes. But my main way that I work is in a 4-month container where we do 17 sessions. It starts off with a big kickoff, and then we do 16 weekly. Sometimes they start off at twice a week and they fade to like once every other week. But my one-to-one program is called The Remix. And it was actually inspired by a yoga class where my playlist was on repeat. So it repeated the first song of the playlist, and I didn't realize it for 45 minutes.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, my playlist, there's an arc of the class. So like when we get in the middle of the class and it's hot, it's sweaty, we're like, the beat's bumping, it's live. And all of a sudden I was like, this song's super slow. This isn't be playing right now. What the fuck is going on? And I look over and I look at my thing and I'm like, Soul Rising. This is the first song. And I looked at it, I was like, is this song been playing for 45 minutes? Like, yeah, I think so. Like, why didn't anybody say anything? And they're like, it's your playlist. But you guys know this doesn't make any sense. I would never do that. But then that moment began to be like, there's always a song going on. Because we're living a song that is the story of our life. But when we're so in it, we don't hear it. And if we don't hear it, we don't even know if we like it. We don't even know if it's true. So I've been like, so we're living a song and that song is the story of our life. Are we sitting around waiting for someone else to create the playlist, to be the producer? Or can we be the producer of our own life and make the remix? So how do we hear our song? How do we decide, do I like this song? Do I like this part of the beat, that part of the beat? Oh, what part of the beat do I want to add? What do I want to take away? What lyrics do I want to change? And how do I have the power to hit the play button and live the new song that is the story of my life, also known as the remix?
Boom, bro. That was deep. You just dropped some wisdom.
Boom.
You just should be a politician. Just quickly go through. No. But you stayed on the subject. Sorry, no. Politicians don't stay on the subject.
Yeah.
No, that is true. I mean, power to you, man. Makes sense. And the most important, if you feel like all the dots are connecting and all that shit makes sense, And like yoga, I wanted to comment earlier, like it's a perfect front for you to introduce you. You know, people can see, this guy, the way he speaks, the way he does, he stands for his talk and all that. It's perfect. It's much better than on Instagram or whatever. I don't know how many people get, through the watching podcasts, but the problem now, there's so many podcasts out there. How many, you said like you listen maybe 1-2 podcasts, like I listen only one podcast still for how many years, right? So but yoga is perfect. And you talk to them and you drop some bombs of wisdom and stuff, and they can even just ask you one little question and you give them a little advice, and then next thing you know, so did you like what you got? Let's go have a chat. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. And I think the reason why men are not, thinking that you are their cup of tea, it's most likely because they're a bit intimidated. Like they struggle to go, and they're fine to go hang out with their mates and say to mate, like what's going on, right? But if it's a professional mate, like I think it's a different thing going on there. Yeah,
and I mean I'll speak from the I, because I remember these moments for me. If I need to change, that's saying that something's wrong.
Yeah.
And if something's wrong, then the needing to change, the needing to get help means that I'm weak.
Yeah. Same thing.
So by me just saying, yes, I need help, that's me admitting that I'm weak. And if I admit I'm weak to you, then how many other people are going to see me as weak? And then the shit that I have, that I've worked so hard for, I'm going to lose.
But it's just the old type of education and looking at things. Like you cry, you're weak. You talk about the, things that you're weak, all that stuff. Renarspodcast.